switch colors for game 2. And we're going to open knight of 3 c4, which Pseudo now knows. I mean, it's something that he could react to in game anyway. Because it's not like you're playing anything other than knight of 6 after knight c3. Or knight of 3. All right, we're just going to open knight of 3. All right, boom, c4. Whoa, c5 coming out. Okay, so now let's get a little crazy. Okay, I think that we're going to do this kind of classic English style from classical. Okay, now, something like this and then knight happens. It's really weird. There's a lot that can get really weird here. I kind of like this move. Prevents this hoppage from happening. If this, then I kind of really like, oh, okay. Now things are getting a little spicy. Wow. This is weird. I've actually played this against Romad. Oh yeah? Did it go well? It's a little spooky. Takes. Okay. We've been hoisted by our own petard here to some extent. We really want to frappuccino this bishop. If you don't fianchetto the bishop here, then it kind of gets stuck because you really don't want to move the d pawn. It's just such a liability. And then what do you do with this e pawn? Or with this kingside bishop, I should say. Now we have to be careful. If takes, then takes is obviously a nightmare. We could occupy this square. Like this. Or we could just push here and then fianchetto the bishop anyway. Actually, I kind of like that. Let's just do that. Why not, right? We also have the opportunity. I mean, it looks unintuitive, but I think that knight a4, kicking the c5 pawn has some merit here. Well, no longer has any merit, but this is now really scary for our pawn, right? We're just gonna fianchetto this bishop off rip. It's just so good with this pawn. But look at this. This is just a dominant fianchetto. Okay, here our opponent's in a tricky situation. Because if we kick this knight now, what does he do? What does he do? Right? Because if he moves, then we're just gonna grab this. We're just gonna grab this rook like immediately. Not even gonna think about it. So if he doesn't move this, he has to do something else. If he does the bishop out here, then I'm okay with capturing this and then trading down, and then he has to open up his e-file, which is just super scary. I don't know. I think this looks incredibly dangerous for black. It looked like a good structure at first, but I think that by winning the fianchetto race, you know, Frappuccino first. He who Frappuccinos first. I don't know how to finish that sentence. Here, I mean, this is the when you say CE4 or E5, in 5D, you know that shit has gone down. This is pretty nuts. Takes here enables him to activate his queen. I don't really see the alternative. I'm not quite crazy enough to sack a knight into this, but there are ideas. Actually, pawn up here and then sack this. Hold on. Okay, we need to calm down a little bit. We need to calm down. Dude, that's so insane. But I think it's what I'm going to do. Okay, the idea is this. If pawn up here and he's like, oh, thank God, respite, we can fianchetto our g7 bishop, then we've got takes here, which I'm not going to do immediately, and then takes here. and then we've got this queen. Like, he can't take with the knight is the problem, because then we have mate. All right, so if we do this, what does he do? He probably pushes this pawn up, right? I think there's no other move. I think if he fianchettos this bishop here, that's insanity. Because we can take here. I mean, if takes here, then we have this, which mates him in the past. And so he has to capture with this knight. And then we've got this queen mate. So I think that what he has to do here is push this pawn. And if that happens, then I think we push our pawn. This is a really interesting position. This is a really interesting position. This is kind of nuts. I also need to figure out what we're doing with this goddamn bishop. I mean, I think that an e3 push is in our future. It's in the cards. But man, what on earth is happening? Wow, the capture happens. That's great for us. Okay, not super great for us. Obviously now this rook sees this this square, so that's not like ideal. What we could do, okay, pushing this twice is maybe a bit of a tall order. I mean, we always have this. Always have this. We also have... Now we have to think outside the box. Okay, so now it's a little bit scary for him, because if we... What we can do is take with check, and then he has to take with the queen here. And then we can take this pawn. Actually, we probably want to take with the pawn first. That way he can't recapture with the knight. So if we take with the pawn, obviously he has to recapture here. But if he does that, then I mean we get to play around with this file. Dude, this seems bonkers. I think that we take here. It's crazy to not take here. I don't know. There was an irresponsible lack of calculation here with the actual line. But we have so many ideas. We just have so many ideas. Our pieces are just too well positioned. And per usual, it all boils down to sort of exploiting the lack of defense when you push e4 or e5, you know. Oh, Pseudo says he won. Okay, Romad won that game. Unsurprising. Romad is an incredible 5D chess player. Yeah, interesting position. This is really a dilemma for him, man. Because if he doesn't take and we get this for free, that's kind of crazy. I mean, an option is to activate this bishop. But if he just moves the bishop to wherever, doesn't really matter. Then we definitely take every day of the week. And then if this happens, then we've got this. But also probably we've got this checking this king. Then he has no option but to take, but to move the king. We just have so much going on, man. This is just too much. And then you've got crazy ideas of well, you probably want to kick this knight. Oh man, I think that if our opponent gets out of this, then you know, just hats off. That's incredible. Okay, so the take happened, and I'm gonna go ahead and recapture with the queen. It keeps this a really crucial diagonal for our opponent. And also we've got another, you know, we up the battery along this diagonal, right? Because now if we do, you know, takes, which he can't do because this is mate after that, but takes, you know, like takes. Actually, that's just mate. So yeah, I think that maybe she definitely needs to defend this. Probably wants to keep this defended as well. He can't move his queen here simply because we capture. The bishop here is maybe a play. Oh, the knight back to cover the diagonal. So smart, so smart. That's a good one. That's sneaky. We probably want to kick this knight off of here, because it adds a defender. Obviously, here is the big thing. Now, the only issue with this play is that we've got takes here, and then if takes. Oh, and then we've got the other. Sorry. So we've got 3 attackers here, and he's got 3 defenders. So we need to add another attacker if we want this to be plan A, which we don't. So as a result, I think that we probably just push this pawn. Am I right about that? I think we want to push this pawn. Yeah, we're going to push this pawn. I mean, if there are too many defenders of this square, then you kick one of them, right? That's just what you do. So plan B has become plan A. Really, we were hoping to get this knight out of here, so that we could do this mate along the diagonal. That's no longer plan A. What's cool about this is a really good way to defend this from our opponent. You know, Pseudo's a crafty one. But now this bishop is blocked in, right? And I mean, pushing something here is like, then you lose. I think it's just too much. Because as soon as we remove a defender of e5, which again, e4, e5, I mean, if you push it, you know, Chad moves bring with them Chad consequences. Let's put it that way. But yeah, this is interesting. Okay, the c4. I'm seeing how the structures of the knight f3 c4 opening kind of really play out for white. It's a compelling system. Very interesting. Wow, yeah, now we have these pawns are such a headache. I don't know where you go from here as black. How do you generate your own threats, more importantly? I mean, obviously you're playing to not lose. But how do you win? I mean, now something like this can be good because, you know, it enables white to... The problem with this as well, by the way, is that white has eventual f7 sack potential as well. But I think you probably fianchetto the bishop here, which saves, you know, which adds the defender that you need to not lose. But then, I mean, if pawn takes c6, then again, you've got another defender that's under threat. I mean, you recapture like b takes c6, which is all well and good, but I don't know, maybe black stabilizes. It's just hard to see exactly how that happens. I'm kind of really happy that my bishop is still on f1, just because it adds a crucial defender to... okay, now... Oh, I see what's happening here. This is a very good solution. This is a creative solution. Kudos to Pseudo for seeing this. Now it closes up the line into the pass for this king. So now like this still checks him, but after takes, this is no longer mate. So We gotta get a little crafty. How do we crack this open? I think there are many ways to crack this open. I think it might start with a knight on g5. I think it might start with a knight on g5. We have one fewer attacker here, but I mean, our opponent's fine on the e-file now. How else can we get tricky here? I mean, this queen has just complete, you know, we can sack with reckless abandon. But we don't want to do that. I think we want to play a little bit more, I don't know, surgically. Let's see. So after, well, I don't want to give him too much time to think about this. You got to defend f7 here, right? What's cool is that this is now almost like, this is actually smothered mate. Like he has to time travel necessarily. I mean, there is this knight, which is the issue. But if we can get this knight to fuck off, maybe like this. Wait. We have such a cool mate idea here. If we take this here and then takes with pawn and then takes with bishop, then if takes with knight, this is mate. That's so cool. Is that too cool to pass up? The answer is yes. That's way too cool to pass up. And I think it's kind of forced as well. I think it might be more forced if we did the bishop here first. I mean, honestly, trading down here, because you remove the defender, but trading down here is actually good for us. I think we probably should have done it with the bishop because it's a little bit more forcing. Yeah, I like that play a little bit more. We should have captured first with the bishop here because it puts him in check a couple of boards ago. So he absolutely has to capture. Like here, what if he decides instead of to capture to just like trade? I mean, that seems pretty nuts, but like he has the option now is my point. And I shouldn't have given him the option. I think that we should have captured with the bishop first with check. Then he has to take. And then after we capture here, yeah, he can do this if he wants. But then we take. And then we have mate with the queen. Yeah, taking here is bad because, well, a whole host of reasons. But it's good because it prevents the smothered mate from happening, which I'm really excited about. Really hope he just captures with the knight here. That would be awesome. And then this king has to time travel. How cool is that? Oh, and he can't time travel because there's a knight before that turn on this board. Well, he can't. Yeah, he can't. Wow, this is awesome. The bishop move here was much more forcing, especially because it also threatens this rook here, right? Should have done the bishop move. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that we've won here. But let's see. Let's see what our opponent comes up with. Definitely should have done the bishop. And I mean, hindsight's 20/20. Well, we considered it, but I liked having the bishop afterward better, which probably is still a good idea. You know, because then if we do something like takes here, we're still opening up. That would be fantastic. Because then knight here is just mate. Which is awesome. Yeah, I see what he's doing here. I think. I mean, he's keeping it protected. He doesn't want to trade down. Maybe because he understands that, like, after all of these trades happen, I still have line of sight to this rook. Which again is the reason that I sort of did this with the knight rather than the bishop, so that like whatever, you know, if we have a bishop here, then that threatens over here. And if nothing else happens, then if we take here, then we pick up the free rook. Which, you know, then if we time travel like so many moves afterward, is a win for us. Man, just look at this board. This is a scary position to be in. Okay, the take here happened, so this is now mate. Let's see. Wow. We got 5D smother mate. How cool is this? Okay, in 2D, this is still smothered mate because no piece can take our knight. It's not just 2D mate, it's also 5D mate. Because in 2D, yes, this is mate pseudo, but I mean, the king always has options to move into the past, but you're also smothered in this past. So this king can't go to this board because it's 5D smothered mate. That's so cool. That was awesome. That was an awesome end to that game. Oh man. Wow, GG. Yeah, I think these maybe that wasn't a super representative game, but yeah, I think that c4 is definitely an interesting idea for white. I think that c5, it's much less. I think that even in turn 0, white still has more options in terms of opening variety than black does, just the way that it is. This is kind of intuitive. I mean, less so than in standard, obviously. But, so I think that c5 is not so great, like 2c5 for black, like knight f6, c5. But I think that knight f3, c4 has a lot of potential for white. Yeah. Yeah, you kind of play it like in English. In classical, it's really interesting. Hilarious. Dude, it's so good. This is just such a cool shape. Oh, look at this. Oh man, king can't go back. King can't go back here because this rook. It's just, or because of this knight. Oh, sorry. I mean, it can't go here because it's surrounded by pieces, I should say. Right. Yeah. 5D smothered. I've been labbing out another move as black, but I probably shouldn't have allowed knight d5. Let's see, where did knight d5 happen? Oh yeah, here. Knight d5. Yeah, well, it was a bit of a concern. You were clever to do this because it closed up the e file, right? The issue with basically anything else is you need to add another defender to d5, otherwise I win, right? So like here, so you preserve the defender on d5 by playing knight d7 here, or on e5 rather, by playing knight d7 here. Oh, d5 is what we're talking about. Sorry, my bad. I was talking earlier about how I mix up the coordinates all the time. Okay, yeah, knight d5 here. Yeah, it was interesting. It was just about the timing, right? Yeah, I think that was sort of the critical move that really got us off the ground, that enabled all of this to happen. All of this followed from basically b3 happened, preparing the fianchetto, right? Bishop b2, and then and then the fianchetto happened, and then g6 happened a turn afterward. So I think that instead of pushing d6 here, if you had pushed g6 immediately, just a fianchetto against the fianchetto, then that would have prevented this from happening. But being as is, when I already had my fianchetto, like you were like a half turn late, or turn late, I guess. Now, of course, the knight d5 becomes like a huge pain in the ass, because then, you know, knight takes, and then you get a free rook, and it's kind of bedlam. So, and otherwise, taking here, and then like trading the knight here, and then like bishop takes, and then I would have sacked this bishop any day of the week, and then that opens up the e file. I think that it was really sharp, and I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that all of this basically happened. I mean, I'm sure that there were outs for black, but they weren't easy to see, especially under time pressure. But it's crazy to think that the fact that b3 was responded to by d6 is kind of what ended up in this situation. You know, it's ridiculous. I mean, GG's to Pseudo. Thanks for playing those games. I really appreciate it, especially when he kind of wasn't feeling it. You know, especially the last one, he wanted a more chill game. I really appreciate playing the extra game, man. Yeah, GG's. It's always good games with Pseudo. And always